right, so this is on similarity. If two, girls and boys, if two triangles or two polygons are similar, you can cross multiply and their ratios will be congruent. I'm not going to do this one just because I don't want to, but I'm going to go down to here. So this might be the length and the side of one triangle. This might be the length and the side of another. And I want to see if they are equivalent or proportional. And one way they say is that you can cross multiply to check. So this one's easy to cross multiply. 6 times 8 is, and you have to in upwards direction, 48. And 56 times 1 is 56. Are those proportional?
No.
No. If these numbers are not equal, they are not equivalent and not proportional. Then I'm going to do the same thing on here in an upwards direction. The easiest is to cross multiply. Very good. 2 times 12 is 24. 12 times 22 is 22. By the way, if I were comparing fractions and I cross multiplied, who knows which the smaller fraction would be? The 1/2 or the 12 over 22?
The half.
The half, because the smaller number goes with the smaller fractions. But they are not equivalent. So not equivalent. Then go to this one. I don't want to cross multiply because the numbers are way too big. So I'm going to go in this direction. 5 times what will give me 15?
3.
Times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. Are these proportional?
No.
No, because that should have been a 27. If not, they are not proportional and not equivalent. And this one, I'm just going to go across. 2 times what will give us 6?
3.
Times 3, it will give us 0.6. So 1.6 times 3 is 48, which, because that decimal is 4.8. This one is a yes, it is equivalent. And this one here, 0.3 times what will give you 21?
7.
Times 7. And 7 times a quarter, if you have 7 quarters, how much money do you have? Vanessa, focus on.
$1.25.
How about $1 and
75.
75? So this is equivalent. And then this is talking about, it's saying this quadrilateral, 4 sides, is similar to this quadrilateral. If the quadrilaterals are similar, all of the angles will be exactly the same. For example, this B, in fact, let's see what corresponds. What side corresponds to the BC? Where's BC? BC is right here. Over here, what side corresponds to the BC? Which one has the same slant and shape?
QR.
The QR. So that's segment QR. Okay. Then, what angle corresponds to the angle C? So here's angle C. What angle do you think is the same corresponding angle over here?
R.
R. And by the way, angle C and angle R would be congruent. So it is similar and congruent to angle R. What angle is similar and congruent to angle D?
S.
Is the angle S. Then, we're actually going to see if we can squeeze in the room so we don't need paper, is find the, in fact, we'll do the angles first. What is the measure of angle Q? Well, here's angle Q. What angle does it correspond with over here? B. And what does that measure? 126. So that is the exact same measure. So it is 126 also. All right, this one's a little bit harder. But we need to know this for the upcoming NWEA test, whenever that is. I think it's in a few weeks. So this time it says, find the measure of angle R. But they don't tell me the measure of angle C. If I knew that, they would be equal. So here's something, and I don't know if it's new for you, but I'm going to go way up here. Does anybody know if I add up all the angles of a triangle, Does anybody know what all three of those angles would add up to?
180.
180. Very good. Okay, very good. So the triangle is always 180. So for example, if this is 100 and this is 40, I don't want to use 40. And let me see, I'll use 55. Okay, if this is 55, who knows what this angle would be then? You're close. In fact, I'll make it a 50. I'll do it that way. Okay. So one angle is 100, one's 50. So 150 is 150. So subtract it from that, and it is 30. But that brings us, that doesn't answer this question just yet. But this you have to memorize. Every single angle, there are three angles, always add up to 180. But if you have a quadrilateral, how many triangles can be made with a quadrilateral? 2. So this is 180. This is 180. So guess what the total degrees are for a quadrilateral? 360. You add those up. And you could keep going. In fact, I could keep going and I could go 1, 2. I could do a, what's after 4 is 5. Okay. So if I have a pentagon, I could draw from here to here one triangle. I could draw from that same vertex to here. I could draw another triangle. And I've got one triangle that are left. So the total of all of these angles is 180 times 3, which is 540. And you could keep going. So on this one, well, on this one here, what's the total angles on a square? How many triangles can I draw?
4.
Well, you can only draw 2, otherwise they'd be overlapping. So you go from one vertex to another. So the total degrees on this one is going to be 360. So that's the same thing with this.
Wait, can I go do something on the board that I saw?
No, I'm afraid. Okay, show me later. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to start from this D angle. And I can't draw one here. That's not going to give me a triangle, but this is going to give me a triangle here. And there's another triangle here. So how many degrees altogether on a quadrilateral? What's 180 and 180? 360. So all of these angles together are going to be 360. So what if I already know that one of them is 126, another is 100, another is 94, and I'm just missing that one. Who knows what I'd have to do with these three? Add them up. So 126 and 100 is 226. And get this down on your paper. And plus the 94, just find a spot. So that's going to be 2. All right. So those three all together right now are 320. How could I find out that missing angle then? Subtract it from what? From 360. So I'm going to subtract 320, and we can always see what that is. We can see what that is mentally. So that's going to be 40. So the C is 40. And if the C is 40, what's the R going to be?
40.
It's also going to be 40. So the angles are always congruent on similar figures. Then, I'm not going to do the perimeter of this one because I have to find all the sides. I'm going to do the perimeter of this one. How do you find a perimeter? How do you find a perimeter? Yeah, I always say perimeter, I parade around and plus every side. I'm going to parade around. I'm going to parade around. I'm going to parade around my whole entire garden. And how far have I gone? I've gone, is that an 8? I covered it up.
Yes.
So that is an 8. Then I'm going to go here, which is 12. Then I'm going to go here, which is 4. And I'm going to go here, which is 6. So this is 20. And this is 10. Altogether, that is what?
30.
It's going to be 30. So again, we found the perimeter of this one instead. So that is going to be 30 centimeters. Okay. Then, okay. Now, this is what you're going to be doing mostly today, is you're going to be finding the length of a missing side. So, I'm looking for P to Q, which is right here. Okay. what is the corresponding side to P to Q on the larger figure? Is the BA. So you're going to set up your ratio, and I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to put the larger, the one on the left, and the one on the right. So my 6 side corresponds to my QP side. So I'm going to put it right here. 6 corresponds to QP. So I've got those two sides. I need to find 2 more numbers to put down here. But I've only got how many numbers left on the one on the right?
8.
No, forget about this one. How many numbers do I have on this one?
1.
I only have this one. So that's the one that I have to use. The one on the right, I'm going to be using the RS, which is 8. Okay. Which side corresponds to the RS over on the bigger one? The CD. So that means I'm going to put the R is similar to the 12. Okay, so on this one, and then I'm going to solve it. Can I reduce 6 over 12? Isn't that 1 over 2? Yeah, because that reduces down to a half. 1/2 is equal to that QP over 8. And then I can cross multiply, or I can go across towards the unknown. 2 times what will give me 8?
4.
Times 4, so I multiply the top one times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. So that QP is equal to 4. So the Q to P is equal to 4. And in fact, that one, no, it was the second smallest side on this one. So when I had the other sides, I could figure, but this is the second smallest side on this one. And then we're going to find the length of the Q to R. So again, this time I'm going to put the big one on the left. And I need to find the QR. So I'm going to put QR here. What side on the big one corresponds to QR? The C what? The CB. And what number is the CB? What is the length? Is that a 9? I can't.
8.
It's an 8. So QR corresponds to the 8 on the large one. And then again, on this right one, oh, we just found this one. We just found the QP, but I don't want to use that one. We're going to use this original 8. So on this one, we're going to use the 8, which is on the QR1. So the 8. What side on this one is for the large? What number corresponded to the 8 on the larger one?
12.
This 12. So it's going to go here. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and, oh, this is going to be ugly. So I'm going to reduce. So I'm going to divide it by 4, divide it by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2 over 3, and the QR over 8. Okay. And I think I made a mistake in the answer rate because it's not there. So I'm going to bring that way up at the top because there's no room to solve it. And I'll just solve it right here. So 2/3 is equal to the QR over 8. And the only way to solve this one, who knows how? Cross multiply. So 3 times QR is 3QR. And now on the other side, 2 times 8 is 16. And then how do I get rid of the 3? Divide, divide. And so we'll leave it as fraction form. 16 divided by 3 goes about how many times? 5 times. And so 5 times 3 is 15, and I've got 1 left over. So that side, that QR side, is 5 1/3. And we're done with that. Well, it says 5, but that's not right. It's 5 1/3 because we just did it. So, sorry. Then open it up, go to the very back. So if, now these are, I think they're telling you that all of these are, each pair of figures is similar. Find the missing side. So if they're turned the exact same way, it is easy. I'm going to look for, here's my X, and here's the 90. That corresponds. And the other two sides that correspond is I could use any of these. I'm going to go with the 13 and the 130. And so once I find those two corresponding sides, I'm just going to draw a little line like that. And there's my ratio. Is I'm going to put 13 over X for the one on the left, and I would put 130 over 90. And should I cross multiply?
No.
No. Especially if you see big numbers. I don't give you big numbers. I give them to you, but I want you to be smart enough to look to see, well, wait a second. I could, oh, in fact, I'll go this way. You actually can, and that's going to make it easier because 130 divided by 10 will give me that, so I can divide this by 10, or I could have crossed this off, and 13 times 1 is 13, so 9 times 1 is 9. So that missing side right here is 9. And also, if this is a rectangle and the left matched the right, the top should match the bottom. If the left matched the right, then the top should equal the bottom, which it does. So X is equal to 9. On this one, I'm going to use the X and the 12. And if I do that, I'm going to use the 3 and the 3. Before I say anything, can anybody already see what the answer is? Who just said it? It is 12. If 3 matches 3, then 12 should match 12. But I'll go ahead and set it up as X over 12 is equal to 3 over 3. And then this one, I could go across in the direction of the unknown. 3 times what will give you 12? Times 4. So this times 4. So 3 times 4 is the X. So X is equal to 12. And then they're going to, this one is, we're going to do this mental math on this number 20. If 7 equals 7 and 5 equals 5, 40 should equal 40. And who knows what this X is going to be? 56. So the side ones will be equal. So I'm not even going to do any work on that. Same thing with the number 22. If this is 112, 112, 8 and 8, who thinks they know what this X is going to be? It's going to be 14. Right. Then, are there any other mental ones?
23.
Oh, the 23 is mental. 117, okay, 3 and 3, 13 and 13, so 117, 117, 27 and what? 27. Okay, then now we're going to get to here where it's not only, they're all different numbers, it's twisted around. So you've got to do it a little bit different. I'm going to go to the X first. And the X is the smallest side, so I'm going to put a one little notch there. Which is the smallest side, Joelle? Get this down here. Which is the smallest side on this one?
4.
The 4. So when I do this, I'm going to match up my notches. So I'm going to do the one notch, which is X on the left one, the 4 on the right one. And then I'll take I could take either of these. I'll say this one because it's the largest side. 1, 2, 3. Who thinks they know the largest side on the one to the right? The 13. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to line up the shortest side to the largest side. So the largest side here is 52. The largest side here is 13. Again, and before you cross multiply, doesn't 13 go into 52? I'm going to try. I think it's 13 times 4. And that is 52. So in the direction, 13 times 4. So we're going to multiply 4 times what? 4 times 4. The X should be a what? 16. So X is equal to 16. Okay. So again, you're going to have to twist some of these around. So these are all different. I see a 91 and a 91, which would make the 7 and 7. But the other numbers are all different. So I'm going to start with this X side is at the smallest side, the middle side, or the largest side? The X side. It's the largest. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3. I should really put 4, but that's okay. And then what's the largest side on the one to the left? The 11. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start off with, well, and then what other number do you want to use? I'll maybe do this, this diagonal piece right here. So this diagonal piece corresponds to which side over here? The 91. So I'm going to put my 1 notch to 3 notches. So you've got to match up corresponding sides. So the 1 notch and the 3 notch. So the 1 notch is 7 and 91. And then the 11 and the X. And I always go left, right. So I just keep it simple. Left and right. The right is the X. And then, before you go crazy, Joelle, is before you go crazy and cross multiply, see if 7 goes into 91, and I'm pretty sure it does. It goes 13, 7, yes, 13. So in this, it's going to be 7 times 13. So what are we going to multiply the 11 times? Times 13. And again, we'll just use our paper right here, and I'm going to put the 11 on the bottom because it's going to make it easy. 1 times 13 is 13. I have to keep a placeholder. Then 1 times 13 again is 13 scooted over once. 143. So that larger side, and it should look reasonable. This is 143, where this was the longest side. And this was, so that looks reasonable. So X is 143. Let me see, what do we have here? All right, it's not time to go. So let's go to this one. Okay. This one was a little tricky. So I'm going to start with the 21. What side corresponds to the 21 over on the right one? The 3. So I'm going to put that's the smallest. All right. Then, Armando, sit up, please. So I already know that I'm going to put, I'm going to use the smaller side. The one on the left is 21. The one on the right is 3. And then I have to use this X side. So I know that over on the right it's going to be X. But what side corresponds with this X over here? The 91, because this one actually, if I turn it like this, this is a little bit longer than this side right here because it kind of goes up in the corner. So the same thing here. This one is a little bit higher than this one because it goes up in the corner. So it's going to be X, and this is 91. And then in the direction of the X, it's actually going to be the 91. Because again, if I turn this here, I've got this little thing that goes down, which makes this the longest one. So over here, and again, I should say going down, but it's going up to meet this one. So this one here is going up to meet this longer side. It is the 91. So going in this direction, am I going to multiply 21 to get 3 or divide? Divide. Divide by 7. Divide by 7. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 91 divided by 7, we just had it, is what? Is it 13? It's going to be 13. So this side is 13. And that's it. Okay. Then, let's see. You guys get out of here. What time? I always mix up.
Right now.
Not right now. Don't fib. Get 19. Okay, so I want to make sure that, okay. So we're not going to do a lot of these. These are already turned around the correct direction. So these are super simple. Matthew, get your head up. So if they're turned around the same way, all I need to do, watch this carefully, it's so easy. Draw a line in between the numbers, 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 draw a line in between the numbers. Because then, there's my two fractions. 12 over 20, and then what over what?
3 over 6.
3 over x.
X,
yeah.
Sorry.
This one, it would be x over 1, and then what over what? 9 over 3. This one, and I could do either of them. I'll go x over 4. I'm going in this direction. X over 4. And what over what on the side?
8 over 16.
8 over 16. On this one, it would be, I would go 5 over 4. And what over what? Who knows what? Is the x over 8. In fact, on this one, go in the direction of the x. Who knows the answer on this one? What do we multiply? 4 times? 4 times what is 8?
36.
4 times what is 8? 2. Times 2 times 2.
Oh, I thought it was.
We were.
You said 4 times. Oh.
4 times 2 is 8.
Oh, I thought you were talking about 4 times 8.
No. 4 times what gave you 8? So our answer is going to be 10. And this one here is, and if I'm not sure, you know, if I multiply or divide, you can always cross multiply. 3x is equal to 9. Who thinks they know what that x is going to be? 3. 3 times 3 is 9.
3 times.
So 310, we're not going to do all of these. I'm going to actually just skip this one. Let's finish this one. So this one, in the direction of the unknown, I'm getting smaller, so I have to divide by 4, divide by 4. What is our x value?
5.
It's going to be 5. Very good, Joelle.
Okay.
Maybe. I owed somebody candy in the last class I forgot to give to. Okay, but let's go down to these two. Because these, and then you don't have to do the rest. This one here, what's that? I think so. So here's my smallest. And so I'm going to look around this. It looks like this is the smallest. Could you do me a favor, Joelle? Could you open that door and put the kickstand on it? Because it is it warm in here to you guys? Ah. Yeah, you need to take your jacket. Okay, just kick it in. There you go. Awesome. Okay. So again, the 9 corresponds to the x, and then this 10 corresponds to the, did I do that right? I don't think so. I did it wrong. This is the smallest. Which is the smallest on this one?
9.
The 9 is the smallest, but what's the smallest side on this one?
X.
Careful, is it? Isn't it the 99?
It's the 99.
It is this one. So here's my 1 notch, here's my 1 notch, and this one would be my 2.
Right.
Okay. So it's going to be the, okay, so I'm going to match the single notch to the double notch. So the 9 corresponds to the 99. And then the 10 corresponds to what? X. And if I give you a test, your triangles will be very distinctive, that you'll be able to see the smallest, the largest, and the middle size. So this is going to be X. So what do I have to do? 9 times what will give me 99? 11. So 10 times 11 is 110. Okay. This one we should do mentally. If this is 10 and this is 10, what is this one going to be? It's going to be 100. And then our last page, you don't have to do these. We're done.
Why don't we just do this? Why did we not do this?
We're going to do this one right now. So I'm going to help you set this up. So we're looking for the X. So who knows what side over here corresponds to the X on this side? Who knows what number corresponds to this X side?
6.
The 6. So here's the one on the left and the one on the right. So X corresponds to 6. You can use any number. If I pick the 15, what should I pick over here?
10.
Very good. So because this corresponds to this. 15 and 10. And then you can finish it up by reducing. I'll let you finish it up. You guys can get together because I need to get done. Okay. Yeah, divide it, cut them in half. It would be 3 over 5. And then you can finish from there. Okay. Then, on this one's easy peasy. It's turned around exactly the same way, so I can just draw my line. Who knows my first ratio?
5.2.
Very good. 5.2 over
6.5.
6.5. And the other one is going to be
Y.
y over 2.5. And I'm going to get rid of that decimal by moving it over. Well, this one, careful. It's not going to go in, or I can't figure it out very easily. But I can factor out 65. 65 is 5 times 13. And I'm going to check to see if a 13 goes into 52. 13 times 4 is 52. So that's what we can do. So we can divide both of these by 13. Am I doing that right? No. Yes, I'm going to reduce it. 52 divided by 13 is what? Is 4. So I'm going to make a new fraction. 65 divided by 13 is 5. And now, 5 times what would give me 25? Armando, put them away.
5. 5.
Okay, hold on a second. I need you to put those away. Okay. All righty, get it off your desk. All right, so again, it's not going to be 5 exactly. It's going to be, is it 0.5? Okay, so it's going to be 0.5. So 5 times 0.5 is 25, and 4 times 5 is 20, but we've got to move the decimal in once. So the answer is going to be what?
2.0.
Or just 2. And just make sure that it's reasonable. 2 is a little bit smaller than 2.5. 5.2 is a little bit smaller than that. So that is reasonable. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front. Right up front,
What?
no secret, this problem will be on your next test. Exact same numbers, but you have to show the work. So, here is my X right here. All right, so I'm gonna set up, here's my triangle to the left, here's my triangle to the right. Who knows, girls and boys, who knows what side corresponds to the X over on the other triangle? You might have to turn your triangle around to see, but I'm going to put X here. Who thinks they know what corresponds to that X? Is that it? Yeah. Because here is, by the way, here's the shortest. Hypotenuse is always the longest. And this is the middle. Joelle, I need you to come and sit down.
I want to go through it.
Okay, but you can go straight from there.
My bad.
Don't be a player. All right, then. So, again, and she's right. Here is the smallest, the largest, and the middle. So, and we're dealing with the middle. So the X corresponds with the 12. And then the only other number that I have here is the 12.5. So that is the smallest side. I'm going to put 12.5. Who knows what side corresponds to that 12.5? I've already got it. The what? What side corresponds to this 12.5 over here? The 5, because it's one notch. Make sure that you notch it so you can see. Smallest, middle, largest. Smallest. So this is the smallest. The smallest on the other one is the 5. And then we've got, there's no else. I can't think of how we could do this except cross multiply, except 5 times 2. No. Cross multiply. So I'm going to go 125 times 12 without the decimal. 2 times 125 is 250. Put a placeholder. 1 times 521 is 521. And now I need to put my decimal. Where's the decimal going to go?
15 point.
15 point?
Or 1.5.
Somebody help him out. Where's the decimal going to go?
150.
One place over. It's going to go right here. So right now, I've got 5 times x is equal to 150. What do I do to get rid of that 5? Divided by 5, divided by 5. X is equal to what? Is equal to 30. Because of time, I'm not going to do this one just yet. If I have time, we'll do it. So these are really important problems. They will be on the test without a picture. So it says these are shadow problems. A palm tree casts a shadow that is 28 feet long. Where am I going to put the 28? On the height of the palm tree or right down here below? Because that's a shadow. It casts a shadow on the ground. So that's going to be 28. And then you've got a 6-foot sign. And it cast a shadow 8 feet long. Where's the 8 feet long shadow going to go? On the bottom, because the shadow goes on the ground. And the height of the sign is 6 feet. How tall is the palm tree? We're looking for the height of the palm tree. Well, now this is a perfect ratio and proportion. Done, done. Who knows what we're going to set up then?
H over 28 and 6
H over 28 is equal to 6 over 8. Okay. I'm going to let you finish that one. We actually do have time to do this, and you will have a whole whopping 1 problem for homework. So we're going to set up this one. It says, what is the scale factor from the smaller to the larger? And I might need to use some room at the top. But when they say from the smaller is going to go on the bottom, the larger is going to go on top. And all you need to do to get the scale factor is find 2 corresponding numbers. In fact, I want to do the one without the decimal. We found the x. We found the x is 30. Okay. So the larger one is 30. Who knows what side corresponds to that 30? So the 30 goes straight up. The 12. Again, it was not the hypotenuse. That's the hypotenuse. It was not the smallest. It's going to be this 12. And then to get the scale factor, you get the unit rate. The unit rate is for 1. So I have to divide this by 12, and I divide this by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. 30 divided by 12, I'm going to bring it right up here because I don't know. And that goes 2, and I get a 6 left over, 6 over 12. Who knows what 6 over 12 is? It's a half. So this is it's a 2.5 to 1 ratio. That is your scale factor. It's a 2 and a 1, 2.5 for every 1 unit on the small one. That is it. So with the scale factor, you just take 1 ratio and you reduce it to the unit factor. And we'll do more of those later. So don't think you have to memorize all of this. We'll do more of those scale factors probably tomorrow. You guys finish up that problem and you're done. Joel, you could probably do that all by yourself. You're a big boy. You can do it. I know you can.